My friend got this property in West Virginia, middle of nowhere, about as rural as you can get. It's a mountain, and there's maybe a couple other people who are there part-time. Most of the properties up there are hunting cabins, maybe some sort of seasonal stuff, but there's really only one guy who lives up there year-round. It's located on a dirt road. Part of the dirt road has gravel on it. Part of it isn't so much as a dirt road as a pair of tire tracks through the woods that you gotta follow. It's really, really, really undeveloped. It is quite the adventure just getting to the plot. While there, I sleep in the cab of my F-250 with a tarp over the top. During one of my first few adventures there, I actually snapped one of the spring leaves of my suspension. I learned my lesson. I have to go around 2 or 3 miles an hour. It's about as Appalachia as you can get. The property is entirely untouched. We had to take down a bunch of trees to even get an idea of where to start. We're going to start with a shed, and it's built on a pretty steep hill because that's what everything here is steep hill with rocky ground.
I spent yesterday jackhammering through this rock to get that hole. But this here stump is going to need to go. So we're going to see if my truck can do that. Okay, you may be thinking that everything looks wildly out of alignment, and that is correct. But all of the boards you see are essentially placeholders. It rained yesterday. Weatherman said less than 0.05 inches. And then it rained much of the day. The weathermen up here, I think they just kind of throw a dart at a board when deciding what they think the weather is going to be that day. But like I said, these are nowhere near level with one another, and that's because it doesn't matter. And then these are just going to be taken down once the concrete sets. And then everything gets framed up. You may not look it, but there's about 100 hours of labor involved in burrowing through all that rock. Like this rock right here used to extend probably to about here, and so I had to jackhammer through it. Now the jackhammer was a recent acquisition. Prior to that, I used a masonry bit to drill a hole, and then masonry bit to drill holes, and brute force to snap it. That was long. Jackhammer's still long, but not quite as long as that method. And here we have some collections of rock. All these, and those, and those, and most of those, and there's some further down the hill. Those all came out of those 7 holes. Yeah, 7 holes, whole bunch of rock. Yeah, it is quite the task, but I'm making progress, and as you can tell, we are built here on a fairly steep incline. So that, like, this board is, like, it's right above grade here. But it's a good 4, maybe 5 feet above grade here, and that's over 12 feet. We've got the main 6 posts, 3 here, 3 here. They pretty close to alignment. These guys have been sitting for a month. These guys have been sitting for a few days. These guys are still drying. Made a good bit of progress. Working above ground is a whole lot easier than working below ground. We have the 9 posts. Each post is notched and has a 2x10 going across. So there's 3 2x10s going across, 12 feet long. They're concreted into the ground. These are just for illustrative purposes. They're not meant to be properly lined up. But yeah, I have a whole bunch of joists across there, and then plywood on top of the joists, and then I'll have a platform on which to build the shed. Most of the things turned out spot on. However, I marked this guy right here when the concrete was still drying, and he seems to have sagged a bit. So I had to put a wedge in there. But yeah, glued in, not going anywhere. Right now I have temporary screws. Once I'm sure everything is 100% where I need it to be, I'll put bolts through. I think that's all the progress I'm going to make for this little vacation.